Hello and welcome back to the channel. So the most tight end looking tight end that ever did tight end is currently being drafted at a value right now. He's 23 years old, he's gigantic, and he had a great rookie season, and he's entering the most likely top 5 breakout year of the position in a year that should see more breakout tight ends. That's probably a player we should talk about. So Pat Fairmouth, he's in my top 10 Dynasty values overall. Now I've gone back through my ranks and applied the value formula we were talking about in the last few videos. He's 6'5", 258 pounds. Now, there's lots being made about Kyle Pitts being the next great tight end, and he should be. He got over 1,000 yards last year with a single touchdown. Simple touchdown regression should see him fall into the top 5 this year, and he's great. But if anything, if we like to play the name game, he's the next Jimmy Graham, right? It's part of the fact he's a lot smaller than Jimmy Graham. Something like his height, but nowhere near his weight. Pat Fairmouth, as a rookie tight end, played 683 snaps. He played 395 routes. The average in the top 5 is around 496, so he's a little under that. But again, he's a rookie tight end. Most rookies don't do the type of things, don't have these type of numbers. Across the board, you might be somewhat disappointed. Kyle Pitts' 1,000-yard season is a lot more attractive and a lot more rare at the tight end position in year 1. That's Evan Ingram type numbers, a player he's actually more similarly sized to. But all of the top 5, and Kyle Pitts and Evan Ingram, they all represent a new breed of tight end, I think, where they're smaller, slimmer, and much more like wide receivers than the tight end position has been in a while. But that doesn't mean the tight end position has stopped being productive in the way it used to be, even up until very recently. Travis Kelsey, by the way, is more in Pat Fairmouth's size range. So if there is the next great tight end, well, it might be Kyle Pitts in terms of positional acronym. Pat Fairmouth is the best example we've seen as the next generation's, or this generation's, great big tight end, and we're actually due tight end breakouts this year. Last year, we only saw one tight end repeat inside the top 5. Normally we see about 2. So we should see more tight ends repeat. We should also see more tight ends break out inside the top 5 as well, because on average we see about 40% of the top 5 be breakout candidates, i.e. players finishing inside the top 5 for the first time. Last year we only saw one, and it was Dalton Schultz. Also smaller than Pat Fairmouth, I'll point out. And less targets, but much further into his career. So Pat Fairmouth is actually entering his second year after one of the most impressive rookie seasons from a tight end we have seen, not named Kyle Pitts or Evan Ingram. He's more traditionally sized like a tight end and has a decent production of receiving from college. This isn't out of nowhere. We knew he was a good rookie prospect heading into 2021. Now, the average top 5 tight end before getting drafted to the NFL has about 80 receptions, 1,113 yards. It has about 13.5 yards per receptions, has played about 25 games, has about 3 receptions a game, because we're talking about low-level production at the tight end position before they go on to break out. And it is worth noting that tight end prospects that succeed in the NFL often only play 1 year, like Jimmy Graham, or come from nowhere, or even have a delayed breakout like Travis Kelsey, because it's such a small group of productive players that tends to be a group of outliers, and the average tells something of a lie. Overall, Pat Fairmouth was an incredibly productive, relative to the position, tight end prospect who was reasonably sized and taken significantly higher in the NFL draft, to a team that it turned out was resplendent in receiving talent. Juju Smith-Schuster, whatever you think of him, I think he performed pretty well last year. You also had Chase Claypool coming off a way too heavy touchdown regression season, which bounced back, or bounced under, if you will, in 2021. But Deonte Johnson really ran away with the show, continuing to prove to be the larger volume guy over all 3. And in that mess, he managed to earn 683 snaps, 395 routes, and 79 targets as a tight end in his rookie season. That's really impressive, and he's currently being drafted as the 9th tight end off the board at 118 overall in Superflex rank. I understand why he would fall there, but it means he's a devastatingly interesting value. One more thing, At the tight end position, the most common year that tight ends break out inside the top 5 is their second year. Now, this is not the same as wide receiver, where we see the most common high-level breakouts actually happen in the third year, but we see the majority of breakouts happen in their second year. He's a devastatingly good dynasty value right now. But what does that mean in terms of actual trade? Because the 9th overall tight end is still a top 12 tight end, and we normally say we don't care about anyone except those top 3. Yeah, I'm arguing Pat Fairmouth could be one of those top 3 this time next year. Since December, since he had a great rookie year, he has fallen from the 82nd overall pick to the 108th overall pick. He has fallen through this offseason, having done nothing but impress and be a giant. Travis Kelsey was recently traded for Pat Fairmouth in a Dynasty league for Pat Fairmouth in a second. Now that's a really smart trade by both sides. Travis Kelsey is much more likely to finish in the top 5. But in a Dynasty league where everyone outside of Travis Kelsey probably doesn't matter anyway, giving up a second round pick to potentially have a younger version, when normally the only other option on the table for that is either Mark Ingram or Kyle Pitts, where you pay lots. So it's actually an interesting year to give up an aging tight end who is amazing, but relatively under amazing considering the flexibility of the tight end 1 compared to wide receivers and running backs over the last few years while he has been the reigning dominant tight end. Trades, he's mostly packaged up, and the trade calculator essentially puts his value as a straight up second round pick. I would do that in any league right now. I'd give up a 2023 pick for Pat Fairmouth immediately if that offer is on the table. Some other interesting trades I found on the Dynasty League football trade calculator: Gabe Davis for Pat Fairmouth straight up. That was really interesting. I also Pat Fairmouth traded for Amari Cooper. I was a little less sure on that one because Amari Cooper is team old guy, you know? Not the type of player I want to give up, but I'm definitely interested in giving up wide receivers in that range, and it's definitely as smart to switch the position to tempt your trade partner. Yeah, I think his value's decent. I think his likelihood of outproducing his current ADP, even in redraft leagues, is really high entering in 2022, and I think he could be the tight end we're looking for, but instead we're overpaying for other tight ends because they're smaller and have a proven production history of being not difference making. It's a really good idea to start sending some trade offers to see where they are at before we enter the 2022 season, and maybe Pat Fairmouth tells them himself that they should be higher on him. Alright, let me know what you think. Thanks for checking it out, and I'll see you again next time.